We are live. We are live with the Pontificators. You guys, it's not Friday, but we have breaking news. We have breaking news. Florida Man has brought us some breaking news. Actually, it's Bleeding Fool, and it's our buddy Chris Browley, who is possibly going to be a Pontificators regular. And they broke an amazing article. I'm pretty sure we're going to get Joe Thunderbuns in here, but I'm not sure how many of the other pontificators we are going to have, but you know what, we got Todd Mulrooney. You know, that's all we need.
Yeah, let's kind of preface this what we're going to be talking about.
Okay, go for it.
This is something we've talked about this before, that there's a whisper network within the female industry of comics, right? That you kind of see a coordinated effort. I don't know why, because they really don't hide it much. You know, they've mentioned Whisper Network, they've talked about it. So there's the Gail Simones, the Alex DeCampis, Tamarin Bonvillain, of Max Visagios, right? So, and Zoe Quinn constantly talked about. And what this article shows you is, yeah, they're all part of this comic book women's Facebook group, and the things they go in there, we'll I don't know if you got it up, but we'll show you. They target and go after. You know what? Richard Meyer's having the success, and Alex DeCampi knows that their Simon and Schuster is making a deal with Richard Meyer, and she talks about, I'm going to go talk to my Simon and Schuster people and see if I can do something about this. It's the same tortious interference that Mark Waid did already with Richard Meyer. Now, right. You know what? Back in the day when we didn't like somebody, we either kicked their ass or we just called them names back. But we don't go to try to take away food off their kids' tables. We don't try to cancel them and lucrative deals that could end up being something that sets his family up for a lifetime. We don't try to undo those things by going over there and smearing the guy.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
If there's something bad and egregious that he did, it's still out there and it can be found. But you don't need to interfere with that, right? If you really think, oh, this guy doesn't deserve that deal, that's not on you.
I always thought that the truth is self-evident at some point. You know what I mean? Like you'll pay the price. You don't have to interfere to artificially make something happen. The truth will just be apparent, and then action will be taken. This kind of speaking on behalf and then preemptively trying to get somebody canceled or hurt is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm glad this article came to light. And I'm glad you feel as passionate as I do, Todd, about this, because this is, we've talked about it on Pontificates all the time. Like, how do you hurt a person? You take away their livelihood. One thing about men, a little bit more than women, is that our identity is wrapped up in what we do for a living. And you take that away from us, that's a big part of who we are. And so it hurts. It hurts more than, oh, he just lost his job at the local 7-Eleven. You know what I mean? These are professions. You know, these are people that have spent their lifetimes to learn how to draw, to write, to create these books. This doesn't just happen, you know. And then just to so blithely and cavalierly, you know, create these whisper networks and try to get people hurt. It's retarded. It's ridiculous. Let me grab the article and then you can go over that. Go ahead.
Well, let me say this about sort of the idea of, let's just separate the men from the women, right? When men want to get ahead, they compete, they hustle, and they do better than their counterparts. When women want to get ahead, and don't take this the wrong way, but this is an unfortunate aspect of this comic book culture. When women want to get ahead, they tear down the men ahead of them. That's it. And that's not the way to go about it. You know what? If they were coming in second, for instance, right? If you looked and you go, oh my God, the two best-selling books right now are one written by Joe Hill and one written by Alex DeCampi, I'd say, you know what? Go for it. knock them down a peg or two in a good way. Get a little competitive, and throw some ribbing. No, you don't go after his livelihood and then create a conspiracy that's not really there, or say things like, "Well, I met him once and he kind of was a little too friendly to me." What does that even mean? A little too friendly to you?
He liked you. He liked you, man. It's like, what if a man walks up to a man and goes, "I really like your work. And by the way, you're a sharp dressed guy." You know what I mean? Or where did you get your haircut? I mean, it doesn't automatically mean that, that he wants to sleep with you or whatever. I mean, these are just compliments. These are just how people break the ice in conversation. Sometimes they're not always about, oh, I want to, I don't know, molest you in some way. And also, I mean, if it's not consensual, it's not consensual. Women mostly have the control in those situations anyway. So all they have to do is say no. Just do it in a very clear fashion. And I would say 99.9% of the time, men just walk away, right?
Right. Especially, look, we're a bunch of nerds. We're good nerds. We're not ugly looking nerds with goofy glasses. We're just a bunch of nerds. So rejection affects us the same as it would anybody. You know what? You tried. You had no game. You walk away. You're right. You absolutely do. There's no, there's no proceeding and like pushing. I've never been like that. Once you're rejected that first time, that's enough for me to go, we'll lower your bar a little bit and go over there, and maybe there's someone else. That's always been me. You know what I mean? So look, I want to say something real quick to the chat. If you could do us a favor, get this out there, share this out there. We want a lot of eyes over here. Obviously, we're the first to jump on this. This article just dropped at 6:30. We're a little busy. We went to it right like that, right? So we're a little too busy to kind of share and do all that and create good posts. If you could do that for us, that would be really great. We really, really appreciate that. I mean, I can't tell you how much that would mean to us if you could share it out there. Get on Facebook, whatever, create a little post, bring some more people in here, because this is something that is that level of serious, because we knew this was going on. Now we got the inside info. You know what? I'm going to let Joe talk a little bit while I do some sharing myself, because I want to get as many eyes over here as possible. Because this is insider, right? Somebody from the inside said, enough with these women. Canceling, they're not just canceling. Maybe there's a shitty guy or a guy who, overreached, whatever. They're going after people and they're making stuff up. This is bull crap. While the industry is on life support itself, when it's really kind of crumbling because of a lot of other aspects we talk about on a lot of other shows. So while it's on life support, you're going to give it a death knell blow from the inside and cancel good people for nothing? Try to undo deals for people who could be set up for life with their families? That's absolute bullshit. I'll let Joe talk a little bit. I'm going to do some sharing.
Man, Todd's fired up. Hey, Joe, how you doing, man?
Doing all right. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Thanks for making time for the show. I know this is a little impromptu. We usually go live Friday. So I know we all have families and stuff like that, so we're fairly scheduled. But Todd was very passionate about this, and Chris Browley actually messaged me as well. And you guys have been trying to get a hold of me all day. I apologize, man. I've just been so busy with my own thing. So I did put a live stream on hold. So I'm hoping that we can try to, get this all in an hour's time, and then I can still make my other shows. But yeah, Joe, if you could fill us in on the Bleeding Fool article, and I'll grab it, and then we can give Todd some time to tweet this out. And yeah, everybody, please, tweet this out. Go for it.
So basically, there's someone at Bleeding Fool who has been able to infiltrate the secret Facebook group, which is different from the closed groups. You can still find closed groups on Facebook if you have the link and can search, but apparently this is a secret group where if you search for it by its name, you won't find it. You actually have to be given the link from someone in the group
Okay, I just want to stop right there and just let you guys know that these actually do exist, because before I was Comicsgate, I was part of at least one of these major comic book groups. And then as soon as they figured out that I was hanging with the likes of Comicsgate, I got booted out of their exclusive club. So these things do exist. I do have proof, and I know firsthand that these things do happen. And it was a face group that I was part of. I'm not going to name names, but they were very prominent, comic book professionals. Go ahead, Joe.
So this secret group has been around, from what we know of, at least 5 years, possibly longer than that. But somebody from Bleeding Fool was able to infiltrate that group. And so in this article, she's got names, dates, she's got screenshots of messages, private messages from Facebook. From what I understand, in what I've been able to read so far, some of these are private Twitter messages that were posted to the secret Facebook group, and then that's how screenshots of these secret Twitter DM conversations were obtained. But one of the things that they've done over the last couple years, it seems to me, from what I've read so far, is they've been getting a little cocky, pardon the pun, ladies, and they've been actually talking about this Whisper network, because it's been an open secret in the industry, like I said, for several years. And as Art was saying, there are definitely secret Facebook groups that exist, and so it's not a question of there's no such thing as a secret Facebook group. It was really who was in it, and how much of their conspiring happened within this particular secret Facebook group as opposed to others. And so Alex DeCampi is listed quite prominently throughout the Art, you're showing your direct messages.
It should be fixed by now.
Okay. So anyway, Alex DeCampi is a prominent member of this group, and some of the other usual suspects: Gail Simone is in the group, Zoe Quinn, Max Visaggio. Let's see, there's a few others that you guys would probably recognize. Tamara Bonvillain, Heather Antos. Yeah, thank you, Todd. Heather Antos, Tamara Bonvillain. There are more. Are
they all listed in the article?
From what I've been able to read so far, I haven't seen the entire list. I believe it said 400 or 440 members, something like that.
Okay.
So far, from what I've seen in the screenshots, there's several names that keep coming up over and over again. And Alex,
are they all in this article, or is?
No, yeah, I've only listed names of people who are in this article where there's proof of them in there. It's got their name, it's got their icon. They're actually listed.
Okay.
It's not like I'm saying, hey, if you've seen these two arguing with those two, then those two are part of this group. I'm only naming people that I've actually seen for myself, evidence that they are part of this. So what I was saying is that in the last couple of years, and you're showing some of these screen caps, Art, some of the members like Heather Antos, Gail Simone, Alex DeCampi, they're actually acknowledging the Whisper campaign, and for a little while they were saying things like, oh, what are we going to talk about on the Whisper Network today? And then they make some ridiculous joke, as if they're mocking the notion that this whisper network exists, when in fact, over time, here's Stephanie Cook.
This one is so telling. Whisper networks are not enough. They only protect people in the know enough to talk to people with insider knowledge. We need to do better at driving shitty people out of the industry. So Stephanie Cook and this group of people get to decide who gets to be in comic books and who doesn't, based on what they think of as shitty behavior or shitty people. Who the fuck are these people?
Right.
Jesus Christ. What arrogance. Holy shit. This is this woman's words right here. Who I would never, ever think of doing something this low and underhanded, because I know that Stephanie Cook has probably people that depend on her. And I would never, ever throw her under the bus like this, unless, you know, it was to defend, you know, other people, which is what we're doing right now, is trying to set the record straight and just to let people know that this kind of shit is real, man. This is not conspiratorial. I mean, this is not like aluminum foil hat stuff. This is not, you know, us making shit up. This is actually real. This is crazy. This isn't a movie.
There's conspiracy theory, and then there's conspiracy fact.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And this article is written about conspiracy fact. There isn't an actual conspiracy here going on. If you scroll up, Art, to the previous screenshot, that one right there. So one of the things I noticed as I was reading through the article is that the writer is showing a progression over time of how some of these women in the group started out by denying its existence. Then they went to mockingly referring to it as if anybody who talked about this is an idiot. And here's what we talk about, you know, what was the actual good Ben Stiller movie? Ha, ha, ha. That was one that Gail Simone had sent. And then as you go down, you see one from Heather Antos where there's nothing there referencing the network. But if you know that she's part of it, that tweet is intended to get your attention. And if you look at the dates, so you see they're getting progressively more outspoken. And then you go down to January 8th, that one from Alex DeCampi. So whoever this is, I'm not sure which Alex is referring to, but saying he's been verboten on the Whisper Network for years. Time to stop whispering and start shouting. So that's January 8th of this year. And then you go 6 months later is that one from Stephanie Cook. And now she's not only acknowledging that there are whisper networks that exist, but now she's saying that only works for insider people to, you know, conspire to get people tossed out on their butts and take away their livelihoods. And as you said, Art, she's saying that they need to do better at driving these people out of the industry. So,
yeah. It's nuts. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So if you scroll down a little bit more, you've got that picture, and then you've got that just below that fortress or whatever it is. It says Comic Book Women. Comic Book Women, private group, 443 members.
But there's no women in comics.
Right.
There's no women in comics, yet there's 443 members. And I would assume most of them are female.
Yeah, and you can look at, for example, this list of icons in here. There's, like, for example, that Alex DeCampi is the third one, the one with the black mask on her face.
Yeah.
As you go through the article, you can look at the avatars next to these names, and then you can, because some of them use aliases. So, for example, Mags Visaggio, in the group, her name is Magdalene Francis, but it's her avatar. And if you read what she says, it's clear that it's Mags. It's not like it's an imposter that's just using Mags's picture.
Okay, so this is a private group on Twitter, right?
No, this is Facebook.
This is Facebook.
Okay, that's what I thought. But
yeah.
But are those
so the official name now everybody can say it publicly? It's called Comic Book Women. and it's a private group on Facebook. But like I said earlier, it's one of those.
These look like Twitter. So these are actually Twitter.
So yeah, so one of the two things to remember here in this article is that some of the screen caps are from Twitter.
Okay.
In this article, some are, if I read it correctly, because I was reading it pretty quickly before we got on the air. But if I read it correctly, then there's also some screen caps that were taken from Facebook where one of the members had posted Twitter screen caps onto Facebook, and then the writer of this article took those off of Facebook and put them in the article.
Okay. So we're assuming that somebody in this group, this private group, the comic book women, got fed up with this and is doing is putting evidence forth. So we don't know who this person is yet, right?
No.
But they're obviously part of this group, so they know firsthand these things.
Right.
Yeah. So if you scroll down a little bit more, you're going to see a list. There we go. So there we see Gail Simone, Zoe Quinn. I think I may have misspoke earlier when we saw the horizontal row of avatars. I said the one with the black mask, I think it said was Alex DeCampi, but it's Zoe Quinn.
It's Zoe Quinn, yeah.
And then we see Alex DeCampi is down here with the hair in her face with the lovely expression. And then Magdalene Francis, that's Mags Visaggio. You could see that the description there was freelance writer at Marvel Entertainment. Heidi McDonald, editor-in-chief at the Comics Beat.
So she controls a actual news outlet.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how the Comics Beat is always in lockstep with the extreme leftist message that we see coming out of different creators, editors, reporters, in this case, editor-in-chief, Tamara Bonvillain, colorist, all over Twitter, trying to take down, whoever she doesn't like that particular week.
Also keep in mind, these are also prominent women that are making a living in comic books. Like why are they so angry? Like, how did the industry shit on them? They're obviously in the comics industry. A lot of these women are, known, commodities. They have marquee value. Gail Simone definitely, as far as being on a project. So what the hell? Why are they so freaking angry? Like what guy shit on them and just you know what I mean? Like, I don't even understand this anger. Is it just innate in them? Like they were born angry?
I've told you my Tamara Bonvillain story multiple times, right? But I never prefaced it with what I used to say to her. I mean, I used to go, great work, excellent work on, what was that? The book that happened in Japan with Jim Zub. Wayward, you took over for John Ronch. You elevated another level, and some other things. So anytime I ever had any interaction with her was like, hey, I really like what you did there, or your palette is really good, is always like very encouraging. So the one day that she posted something about Gwen Stacy, that I told that story. I was on the blacklist because I thought Gwen Stacy, Gwen Poole was an abomination and all that. That began. They are those people that perpetrated and created that list.
Yeah, once again, just for expressing an opinion, that was just your opinion, Todd. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily fact. It's not truth. It's your opinion.
Right.
And I know that you're a fair person. And if you were pushed, you'd go, yeah, this is my opinion. This is how I feel about this. Right. So you're also you're going to cancel somebody and just try to destroy them over an opinion. This is insane. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Joe.
So if we scroll down a little bit further, we've got another list here. If you go down a little bit further, Art, it'll say comic book women. And then you can see that The writer of the article did a search on the Heather. So here's some more Heathers. Heather Einhorn, founder, CEO, owner at Einhorn's Epic Productions. Heather Marie, senior editor at Valiant. I think that's Heather Antos.
These are powerful people.
Unless that's, they have two Heathers that are both senior editors at Valiant.
Yeah.
Co-writer at Lion Forge. I don't know who she is. So if we scroll down a little bit further, the writer is saying that these people have denied for years that they coordinate their actions in private, and yet when they are constantly tweeting the same sort of stuff on Twitter at the same time, or they're always retweeting each other, it gets suspicious. And then when you look at sites like Bleeding Cool and CBR, and I'll throw Comic Speed in there as well. Remember, Heidi McDonald, editor-in-chief, is on the list of members here. So they'll take those little clips and then turn them into quote-unquote stories without fact-checking. And sometimes they do it, as it says here in the article, sometimes within the hour. So as we come down here to key actors, we're going to start to see that claim of these quote-unquote news outlets working with these people. We're going to see that verified.
Okay.
So as we come down here to Alex DeCampi, that post that's in black, it says, comics publishers need an independent, dedicated HR person who victims can confidentially and safely approach when their freelancers harass colleagues and fans. And there need to be real consequences attached to those reports. But that would involve
victims, not like people who have trouble with other people, but victims. Right. These are exaggerated words, but go ahead.
And she says, but that would involve admitting a problem exists. Oh, a problem existing, kind of like secret whisper networks, where people try to get others thrown out of the industry for no legitimate reason.
And usually based on just hearsay and not necessarily fact, or no real HR looking into these facts or allegations. I'm not saying everybody that works in comics is a saint, but come on, there are a lot of people that are being wrongfully accused and being canceled just because of whisper networks like this one that Bleeding Fool has exposed here.
So I'm just replying to someone in the chat saying it'd be interesting if Rich Johnson at Bleeding Cool is connected with all of this. And I just said he is. We'll get into that soon.
Okay.
We'll show you.
You want me to keep scrolling?
Yeah, scroll down a little bit further where it says, now I'll take you into their private network.
Oh, man, this is crazy.
So 2 years ago, May 13th, 2018, DeCampi launched a private campaign to target an independent creator. Has anybody in the chat heard of ya boy Zach?
Possibly.
Claiming she was using her connections to have Simon & Schuster cancel their book. Now, at this point, if we scroll down a little bit more, there's Alex's post. This is now a screenshot from within the Facebook group. And
want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, folks. So apparently Richard Meyer's shitty graphic novel Jawbreakers is going to be distributed by Simon & Schuster. I have all those folks on mute for sanity reasons. But if any find out more details on this, please let me know so I can talk to my folks at S&S and try to stop that shit from happening. Holy crap.
Does that remind you of a little kerfuffle with Antarctic Press? And
do you think Mark Wade's part of this whisper network?
Mark Wade making a phone call, or 5 or 15, however many it was?
Yeah, I think Mark Wade's part of this campaign or this whisper network. Though you sailed through the weekend blissfully unaware of this comics' latest trash fire. For all that's holy, do not go back and Google it. It's not worth it. Just turds being turds. I don't know. I read the book. It's not that bad. Richard Meyer is not Satan.
Now, if we look at Tamara Bonvillain's reply, she says, I saw that someone said this, but who knows how true it is. They're also threatening to sue Mark Wade, him or someone involved, using some FTC regulation. They are delusional people, so don't know if that's actually happening or not. Guess what, Tamara? It's happening.
They're delusional, and they're just using some kind of regulation. What? The fucking law?
Yeah, exactly.
They're using some kind of regulation. I don't know. It's called the law.
He's also apparently trying to start his own company called Splotto. Guess what, Tamara? He created it. It's doing great.
Yeah, let's stop that right now.
So if we scroll down a little further, the article basically has that just blown up. And let's see.
What an angry lady.
Okay, now go down to Alex DeCampi. She's the final. There you go, right there, Art. Go ahead and read that out from her.
Okay. I found the BC article. I'm just going to do some quiet behind the scenes stuff. Pay no attention to the gal behind the curtain. These people are comic book characters. They're comic book villains, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so in the article, it goes on to saying that in addition to contacting the publisher, which we all know Antarctic was contacted.
Yes.
Others in the Whisper Network coordinated their efforts to contact media outlets to have the narrative changed according to the posts in that thread. Then down here is where Alex DeCampi is posting private conversations with Max Bemis. And apparently she was mad at him for his behavior, whatever that was, I don't know. But I think it's in here just to show that when DeCampi goes after someone, she has no problem posting private conversations without their permission, which the writer is speculating is probably illegal. I think it depends on the states of the people involved. But as
this is her posting from the private Facebook chat onto Twitter. Is that what you're saying?
This was posting from Twitter DMs onto Facebook, where it says June 23rd, 2018.
Okay.
And so, and then those 3 lines under that, that's all from Facebook. And then all of the gray and blue there is from Twitter. So the gray is from Max Bemis and the blue is from Alex DeCampi.
I got it. Okay.
And it's basically, for those in the chat, if you're not reading it on the side, I know it's probably too small for you to read on the screen. It's basically Max Bemis sucking up to Alex and saying that he'd love to write with her, and she's saying it's not going to happen. And he's saying, why? I love you. I'm your biggest fan, blah, blah, blah. And she's saying, it's not going to happen because you're essentially an emotional abuser. Why? What are you talking about? I thought what I did was inappropriate, but I wanted to reach out to apologize. And she's saying, goodbye, Max. Don't contact me again.
Yeah, she says your behavior was incompatible with a professional collaboration.
She seems like quite the professional, doesn't she?
Little psycho, man. Little power going right to her head.
So I think the writer has posted that exchange up there, which again, the writer did not post the Twitter DMs. It was Alex who posted them to Facebook.
Okay.
Making it a public thing. And then the writer of the article has simply taken a screenshot off Facebook that Alex posted and is showing it in the article. And so as you're reading through the article, you can see that what the writer's doing is showing a historical timeline here of Alex doing this kind of stuff.
So is this Alex kind of like trying to shame this guy, this Max Bemis publicly? Is that kind of the point of this?
Well, because Alex was doing it in the secret Facebook group, it looks like what her aim is to show the other women in this group that she has power over Max Bemis.
Oh, I see. So it's similar to what I'm saying, but it's like to shame them in the private group versus in the public.
As if, and this is where I'm speculating, because obviously I'm not part of their secret women in comics group. Yet. I'm working on it. Hopefully by the end of this stream, I'll get an invite.
I'm sure you will, Joe. Or should I say Josephina?
Maybe. So I think what the writer's doing here is establishing this historical timeline of DeCampi sometimes making these statements publicly on Twitter under her own account, and then sometimes she's posting conversations like this one with Bemis to her secret Facebook group, showing that, hey, look, here's Max Bemis. He wants to work with me. He's sucking up to me, but I've got him under my thumb. Watch how I take care of him.
Yeah, look how pathetic he is. Look at this. I could cry. I just feel kind of bullied by you. But everything's a learning experience. Either way, I think you're brilliant. Oh my gosh, Max, you got to get a spine. Holy shit.
The soy is strong with that one.
Oh, poor Max. Poor Max. Does he have a dad? Does he have any male camaraderie? This is horrible, dude.
So in the next one, it says 2 months later, August 26th, DeCampi singled out Cullen Bunn for a private bullying campaign. And this is where she tries to link Cullen Bunn to Comicsgate, if you can believe that.
Might be a stretch.
Well, oh, yeah. I don't think even Plastic Man or Reed Richards could make that stretch. So she says, this is an attempt to loosely link Bunn to Comicsgate, even in the flimsiest way, hoping it would prevent him from earning income if the rumors spread far enough.
What a bitch. Sorry.
Publicly and privately, this is one of the Whisper Network's primary tactics. So there's this Twitter thread that she's posting that to Facebook. And so you've got Stephanie Cook, Kat Staggs, Janet Harvey, Tamra Bonvillain. Here we go. Tamra saying, I stopped following him just recently because I saw him following one too many people in that Comicsgate orbit, though I don't remember who specifically at the moment.
Oh, that's convenient. I just hate him. I don't know really why. I just don't like him.
He likes people that you shouldn't like. I can't remember who those people are, but, you know, I stopped following him because of reasons.
Yeah.
This Declan that they're talking about here, and Allison Sampson says he shares it with a lot of people like Declan. My guess is that's Declan Shalvey. He runs with he runs in the same circles as Cullen Bunn, from what I understand. And okay. Declan Shalvey has been one of the people to publicly badmouth Comicsgate and anybody with any ties to them.
Wow.
Okay, so here's Tamra talking to this when she says some of them. This is other pros who were not actively going after Comicsgate. Talking to some of them recently at cons, they would often say something like, "Oh, I don't want to give them attention, so I don't say anything," which is like a thing they heard from someone that is the easiest advice to follow because they don't have to do anything and can feel good about themselves.
Yeah, that's why they do it. To feel good about themselves. They just don't want to get involved. Like, everybody wants to be involved with this bullshit, Tamara.
So Tamara, is talking to these people at cons, presumably trying to recruit more activists for her little group. And they're saying, somewhat reasonably, I would think, if they're not interested in Comicsgate or people that are tied to Comicsgate in some way, these people are saying, I don't want to give them attention, so I don't say anything. These are people who don't want to be involved. And then she's making fun of them because they're not actively going out and persecuting Comicsgate people. And, that's not good enough for Tamra.
Sometimes, Tamara, people just don't want to hurt other people. Even though they might disagree with them, they just don't want to hurt them because they realize they have a different point of view, just a different point of view. These things aren't even like right and wrong issues, Tamara. Like, Comicsgate is clearly not evil. This is a narrative that you and other people have created to try to bring, people like myself and Todd and people that are just trying to, create comic books for themselves and bring them directly to, the fan base. That's all we're doing here. This isn't the big conspiracy. It's so funny when you talk very simplistic like this to them and say, this is clearly what we're really doing. They can't buy into it. It's almost like it's too simple to them. You know what I mean? It's like, no, it's way more complex than that. Not really. It's just a matter of like finding a bunch of like-minded people and hanging out and then putting out good product that we're building a fan base that likes. It's no different than having your own, like Image Comics or any other, publishing venture or group of people that like to hang out with each other. It's not evil. You know what I mean? There were a couple missteps early on in Comicsgate, and that's all you can really hold, over the entire Comicsgate as a movement, as a group. That's all you can hold over their head. That's it. There's a couple missteps by, I think, Zach and Ethan early on, and Zach has publicly, I think Ethan too, have said that they were missteps. You know what I mean? So like we're all human. We make mistakes. Like how much more I guess do we, not just those two, but everybody else that's part of it, have to pay for a couple missteps? We're humans. We all make mistakes. But apparently, according to Tamra and this Whisper Network, we're not supposed to.
Yeah. And I think, Art, this is probably a good spot for you to read Super Chats.
Oh, okay.
And then we can go back into this article. It's kind of a good stopping point.
Yeah, I can't. Thank you. I can't see the chat when I'm sharing. So was it 2 Super Chats you see?
Yeah, I've seen 2 so far.
Okay, and thanks everybody in the chat. I see a bunch of people chiming in. I'm sorry, this article is really in depth, and Joe's doing a great job covering it. Joe, you're earning your keep today. Yeah, and you guys, please tweet this out. Todd really he wants to get the exclusive here. I wish I could have got in earlier. Hatch 450SX. For $5, can't wait for black and white art. You just got all graveyard shipped orders. Just got all graveyard shipped orders. Just got sword maidens as well. All in great shape. Keep killing it, Comicsgate. We will, and thank you so much, Hatch. I do appreciate the $5. We got Blue Samurai Zero, who now I can put a face to the name. I did a chat with him or a show with him the other night, and he's a good guy. He's a fun guy. Here's a tip of the hat. Back Chrono Mechanics. Thank you so much, Blue Samurai. I do appreciate it. All right. So do we still have stuff to cover, Joe? You want to go back to the article?
Yeah, we can go back to the article if you like, unless you want to read some more comments from the chat.
We'll come back. I want to, because to be honest, you're also filling me in on this because I just went over the article really quickly. So I'm not really familiar with it either.
Okay, so if we scroll down a little bit more, there will be, right there.
April 2020.
Yeah, April 17th, 2020.
Oh,
so
my
now,
God, bring Dynamite into this too?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Horrible,
you guys are gonna love this. So here we've got, this is again a screenshot from the private Facebook group, and it's Alex DeCampi saying, that she's heard from artist friends that Dynamite has basically stopped paying freelancers and its accounting department isn't responding to anyone. So if you're waiting on checks from them or working away on books for them, assuming they'll pay, maybe make a backup plan. So this is a rumor, right? Unsubstantiated rumor. Maybe she's got artist friends at Dynamite. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. But let's just, for the sake of conversation, assume that she actually did hear that.
Okay, let me back up just to give you a little bit of comic insight.
Sure.
I've had checks delayed from Marvel and DC as well. And then people always speculate, like Marvel in a day, I was working under a contract, an actual signed agreement that they didn't have to pay me when they filed bankruptcy. So trust me, these things, even the mainstream sometimes has a problem paying, but it's not necessarily a company-wide thing. It might just be one freelancer or two freelancers that their checks are late. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that it's company-wide. So I just want to clarify that this doesn't mean really anything.
It's a great point, and that can happen even when there's not a worldwide pandemic going on and pencils are down.
Right,
Art? Because you didn't get that from Marvel when they were in the
bankruptcy.
When they were in the grip of a worldwide pandemic, the way we are now. But it's true. There's even I used to work in the corporate business world, and even in a multi-billion-dollar corporation, you can have a mistake in accounting for whatever reason, and somebody's pay is late. So, it does happen from time to time.
It's not just voucher might be misplaced. Editors sit on it for a day or two longer than maybe they should. Things happen.
And it's when you're talking about independent contractors, especially, I don't know. I mean, I haven't dealt with the accounting world lately, so I don't know how it is with independent contractors, with corporations. I used to be on the corporate side of it, and when you have independent contractors, they tend to have more trouble when it does happen, just because there are usually more steps in the accounting process. So there's a greater likelihood of, if something's going to go wrong, it's going to be with those types of contract employees. But anyway, back to this with Dynamite. Let's just what are you playing, Art?
I'm typing in another chat. I'm talking to Drawing Spectacular, the show I'm supposed to be on right now, and I'm apologizing. So yeah, try to look past the typing. So I apologize.
Okay, no worries. So I wasn't sure for a second if the chat could see.
I'm sorry, they can see this
article.
Jeez Louise, I'm being so stupid right now. I'm sorry.
No worries. You know what, Art? If you want me to share my screen,
then I can multitask. Well, let's follow through. I said my piece. I just wanted to let everybody know that was in that other stream that I'll be with them shortly, just so I keep my word. Sorry about that, chat. Keep going, Joe. I'm sorry again.
All right. So if we go down just a couple little responses, this one from Magdalene Francis. And this is again in relation to Dynamite. It's almost like taking $300K from EVS wasn't worth it.
What?
So apparently there's a story where they think that EVS, for whatever reason, paid $300,000 to Dynamite for something.
What?
I don't know.
I'll tell you guys. Okay, he's got a campaign for $1 million. That's not all his money. There's shipping. There's all kinds of costs involved, and also he has to pay taxes on that money. So when you start saying, "Oh, he paid out $300K," that's, even for a guy that just had $1 million campaign, that's still a lot of money for somebody like that. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't just have $300K that he can just, shell out willy-nilly. This is absurd. $300K?
$300K.
That's absurd.
Would you like to see how she goes after, quote unquote, one of her own in public?
Yes, please. Where is this?
All right. So if we scroll down past that, there you go. So this is that ridiculous pledge that the pontificators lampooned a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we mocked the hell out of it.
And so this pledge, I have since found out, was not created, it was neither written nor the graphic created by any male comics pro. It was created by 4 women and then sent out, and men were told to take this pledge, which I find hilarious, not only on the face of it, but also a bunch of other women in the comics industry thought it was ridiculous. So Scott Snyder on June 23rd said, "I pledge to say no to abuse, harassment, grooming, and manipulation of women and all people of marginalized genders, sexes. Are you with us? Take the comics pledge with me."
Okay, if these are like, what's that saying? He protests too much. Like, isn't this what people who do this shit say? Like, people who don't harass, groom, abuse, manipulate, and all these other things, they just laugh this shit off, right? Like, this is just a joke. Only people that actually are either trying to virtue signal to score some kind of points or actually do this kind of shit post stuff like this, right? This is nuts.
I would think if you haven't done anything inappropriate, but if you're scared for your livelihood, you're scared that people like Alex DeCampi and Tamara Bonvillain or Gail Simone or Mags Visaggio or any of the others on that list are going to, gin up a witch hunt and then run you out of comics, you might say something like Scott Snyder said, because
I see. So it's like preemptively saying, "Hey, I'm on board, man. These guys are scumbags. I'm cool with this," like preemptively, so they don't actually burn Scott Snyder at the.
Yeah, but you know what? Alex DeCampi has got his number. She says, "This is cute, but 1, we don't believe you."
Oh my gosh, really? Okay.
All right. And 2, it goes way beyond this to things like speaking up and using your privilege to push change when you see that nobody of marginalized backgrounds are being hired as creators by a particular office. Editors aside, maybe the Batman office, maybe that's what she's talking about. Maybe she wants a job in the Batman office.
So let's back up, though. Alex DeCampi is a white chick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure that, about this whole privilege and her nationality and her color.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
So she, just right up front. This is on Twitter. I should emphasize that. This is not from Facebook. This is on Twitter for the whole world to see.
422 likes. Who are these people?
Well, there was 443 members of that Facebook group.
Yeah, maybe they all liked it, or like you're saying, Joe, everybody that liked it then somehow is immune from the witch hunt as well. Because they back this.
I think they hope they're immune.
Oh yeah. Hope is the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not, but they're hoping. Okay, so this is absolutely absurd. The world has lost its mind, and Scott Snyder is contributing to this whole madness.
Well, he took that comics pledge, saying he's not going to go after marginalized people, yet he was also the one on Twitter who mocked Dean Cain of Japanese descent, where somebody, I can't remember if it was Alex DeCampi or if it was someone else, who said, they posted a picture of Dean Cain as Superman and said, "Who is this not? Wrong answers only." And Scott Snyder replies with Superman. And we
Ah.
have all kinds of internet backpats for it.
Well, I just want to read this and just analyze this. I pledge to say no to abuse, harass, grooming, and manipulation of women and all people of marginalized genders and sexes. But he's open to abuse, harass, grooming, manipulation of anybody that doesn't fit that criteria, right?
Apparently.
So he could harass, like, say, Todd or me.
Mm.
He
Funny
didn't
how
pledge
that
not to
works.
harass us.
No, he sure didn't.
These things are so absurd because I mean, if you were going to take a pledge like this, wouldn't you just say all people? Just all people I'm going to treat, if you truly believed in this, why do you have to like actually itemize, like have a list of people,
First off, come on. Shouldn't it just say people in comics say no?
Yeah.
It says men. The hardest shoes to be in right now. Everyone looks about what's going on outside. The hardest shoes to wear right now, straight white man.
Yep.
Well, they like to say like this isn't a war, and this is like they're not going to harass, groom, or manipulate those people, but they can go after the white male. So these guys can speak out of one side of their mouth while the other side's rambling off with this crap. So it's like these things are always problematic when you list people. Like Black Lives Matter is problematic, and the reason people have a problem with the title is because it was designed to be problematic, because it says a certain group of people, matter. And so then, people that are thinking are just like, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that nobody else matters? Just those people? So maybe I'm just going to rebrand this and say all lives matter. And then you say that, and then you get attacked because you're somehow attacking their cause. So these things are problematic in inception. These things are designed to be us and them. These things are not designed to be inclusive. They're preaching it, like I said, off one side of their mouth. They're saying this is inclusive. We're trying to help and we're trying to fix things. But at the same time, they're throwing another group of people under the bus. Two wrongs don't make a right, Alex DeCampi. They never will. You cannot take the high horse here, or the high road. I'm sorry, high horse. There's a slip right there. But you can't take the high road here and then throw somebody else under the bus to make somebody else be marginalized. Because what you're saying is that white males are the ones that are marginalizing these people. Without saying it, that's what you are saying. And that's what Scott Snyder's saying too. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, Todd, it's like it is the white male that these things are all aimed at. So the white male are the ones that need to change and fix all these things. But the thing is, they're also lumping everybody into one convenient narrative. All men, white men. You know what I mean? Like this is absurd. There are bad people, all walks of life, all nationalities, all religions. There are good and bad people that exist. These people are like children. They only see things in these like polarized, us and them, either or. They don't see the world for what it really is. And the reason they don't, and I'm totally convinced of this, like even with Black Lives Matter, is it empowers them. It empowers these people. It doesn't empower the world. It doesn't better the world. It just empowers this group of elitists. Yes, they are elitists. Alex DeCampi and all these other people are elitists, and they're trying to exercise this narrative to gain more power. That's it, pure and simple, man. This is not about righting or wrong, because what does Scott Snyder have to do with anything? What did he do? Why is he even getting involved with this? If there is a wrong that happens, in comic books, then approach that problem and then deal with it as an isolated incident. You're making these things sound like they just happen every day. You know what I mean? Like, this is the way the comics industry works, but it's not.
Yeah, and as you move on in the article, it shows you how they're working with the media, where this here says DeCampi is the Zoe Quinn of comic book media, where Zoe Quinn got her internet fame from using inappropriate relationships with gaming media people to get favorable reviews for her game. So now the parallel is Rich Johnston and Alex DeCampi. DeCampi, Zoe Quinn, she's got a friend, let's say, in Rich Johnston, where we see March 28th of this year. It doesn't really matter what this little blurb is. It was a project that she was working on. The highlighted bit says Jones, being a director of a film, is now working with legendary, I'm quoting this word for word, is now working with legendary comic creator and innovator and former Bleeding Cool columnist Alex DeCampi.
Legendary.
She doesn't have more than 50 credits.
I think it means Legendary, the production company, but I just think it's funny that it says Legendary comic creator. Are they talking about Legendary as the publishing, or are they actually referring to her as being legendary?
Oh,
Johnston is referring to her as being a legendary comic creator and innovator.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you're right, Todd. I apologize.
And then just barely a little over a month later, the next article listed here is also by Rich Johnston, May 6th of this year. He describes, and I quote, DeCampi is one of the greatest living comic book writers. Although she's managed to work in relative obscurity, including a forgotten by everyone but me look at digital comics creation called the Uncanny Valley Girl for Bleeding Cool, unquote. So how can you be one of the greatest living comic book writers? How can you be a comic book legend and yet work in relative obscurity?
And also, how long has she been working in the industry? I think to get that legendary status, you have to, at least have 20 years or 20 plus years, right? I mean, you don't just get legendary status for putting in 5 years in the comics industry.
Well, you keep going, Joe. I'll look her up. Let's look at her credits.
So
let me back up for just a minute. You guys, like, nobody else is reporting this yet. I just checked YouTube. So if you guys could, everybody in the chat, tweet this out, man. This is Pontificators at its best, man. We got a shoestring cast here, but we're bringing it home, man. So go ahead, Joe.
So if we go down a little bit further, it'll bring us to June of this year, where DeCampi told her Twitter followers to DM her if they wanted to hear rumors about the people whose careers she'd like to damage.
Is that this one? Oh, there.
Yeah, that one right there.
Okay.
Children, you can just DM me rather than play Guess the Jerk in my mentions.
Wow.
So there, she's gone from making obscure references a few years ago to a Whisper Network to now in June of this year saying, hey, if you want to hear the dirt on comic book pros, just DM me. I'll tell you all about it.
I'll tell you everything. I keep a list, a Schindler's List, if you will.
She has less than 30 credits to her name.
Wow.
Of comic book.
And I've done 30 books in a year.
Are any of those credits anything that the average comic reader would recognize?
A 2-issue Wonder Woman story, maybe. No Mercy at Image Comics, comic book called Valentine. Smoke. I do like Igor Corday. Smoke. Smoke was probably her best work. She actually has less than 20.
So we're not saying that she doesn't have talent. I mean, she could be a good writer, but the thing is, she's hardly a legendary writer. So this Rich Johnston is obviously blowing some smoke. way overblowing her credibility and her credits. Where was it? Is it right here? Yeah. Yeah. So
Art, if you want to scroll down to where it says final words, we'll be able to wrap this up, and then you can go to your other commitment.
Okay, thanks.
So it says, now that they've been exposed, what narrative will the Whisper Network and their allies in the media run with? Now, this is great. The writer of the article is calling her shot, and she's doing it with some specifics. So these are some common excuses that the writer has come across. So the expected narrative when all this is made public is, quote, we only target right-wing extremists, unquote, or, quote, we only target sexual predators, unquote. And then
how does that work with Comicsgate? So Comicsgate, do they fall under right-wing extremists?
Yes.
Well, one of the main things that we preach is no politics in our comic books.
Well, and I've lost count of how many people who have defended people in Comicsgate saying that they were liberal and they've been in Comicsgate and they've never found a more welcoming group of people in comics, mainstream, independent, underground, you name it.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different people on different ends of the political spectrum, for sure.
But the writer says that, in 2016, it may have been true when the targets were almost exclusively on the right, though she would argue that very few were quote unquote extreme. And now here's a quote. But in 2020, the Whisper Network is regularly targeting liberals. And why not? Since every conservative creator has been effectively soft blacklisted from the industry thanks to their ongoing efforts, there is effectively no right-leaning creator left remaining in the industry to attack. Now, I should say unquote. So now my own editorial comment, I would add a little asterisk to this and say that there's effectively no outspoken right-leaning creator left. There are a relative few right-leaning creators still in the mainstream industry, and a couple more maybe in what I would call the kind of the mainstream independents. But they're certainly not advertising the fact because they've seen what happens to people like Ethan Van Sciver, Chuck Dixon, Graham Nolan. So her last line here from the writer is, "This is not over. I have a lot more evidence, and it continues to pour in from various sources. As you can see, there's still many more files to be opened."
Oh my gosh, this epic story has just started. So yes. This said part 1. Is there a projected how many parts? Or does it just say part 1?
It just says part 1.
It's part 1. All I know at this point is that it's a series. And, I mean, she's got folders here on Heather Antos, Susan Auger, Tamara Bonvillain, Rachel Reed, De Guzman. My guess is that's Jennifer De Guzman. Heidi McDonald, I would imagine, is McDonald here. Tess Fowler, Alana Marie. That might
work with Amy. I like Amy. I hope it doesn't prove that she's
Amy Chu.
Yeah, that she's an angry person too. Because I like.
Is she the one that went over with Axel Alonso and Eric Esquivel at AWA?
I don't know.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I only remember her. We worked together on, I think, a Poison Ivy miniseries together, and okay. When you're working with somebody, you kind of you're a lot closer than normal than I would normally be with her. So, and then I saw her at a couple shows, and she seemed like a very sweet lady. So I just hope that she hasn't said some majorly angry shit. So you have heard her say stuff? Is that?
Well, no, I was just asking because I saw her in a live stream. I think it was Amy Chu. I'll have to double check it. but I thought it was Amy Chu working for Axel Alonso at AWA. I'll have to double check it.
What's AWA?
It's a new
company.
Yeah, new publishing company. You might know more about this than I do, Todd. My understanding was that it was essentially non-white creators making comics for non-white people.
Ooh, where did you get that? That's interesting.
I'd have to look it up. It was a little while ago when I read it.
What nationality is Alex or Axel Alonso?
I don't know for sure. I don't even
Armenian. I think.
I don't even know if the information was solid. I just remember reading a blurb about it, and I meant to look into it and just never got around to it.
Well, give that to Chris. Chris can look into it.
I can name some people that are over there. I remember their first announcement, and this book hasn't come out yet, was like a girl fight club by Frank Cho. I think that's what it's called, Girl Fight Club. And then they have what's his name? Who did? Oh, Jesus, I'm gonna forget names now. Jeff Lemire's doing a book over there.
Okay.
There's a bunch of them written by one person whose name I don't recognize. Let me see if I can find out. But
must have been bad info that I read then.
Well, I mean, you could be right because it could. I mean, Frank Cho is not really white.
Well, if that's true, that's pretty damn bold. I wouldn't put it past anybody in this current climate to make such a bold claim, like, no white people, associated with this brand. Although I would like to believe that it's not true.
Yeah, it's not. I just looked at their company webpage, and it's not.
Yeah, so Jeff McCumsey of Vamp. What's it, Vamp Girl?
Bill Jemis is over there.
Yeah.
JMS, Garth Ennis.
Wow, Bill Jemis. I haven't heard his name in a long time. Bill Jemis was really nice to me when I worked at Marvel.
Benjamin Percy is another guy who's writing a lot of the books over there.
Yeah, well, I just wanted, like, Bill Jemis, since I haven't heard his name in a while. When my dad passed away, he wrote in the letters column a nice message and everything to my dad and everything. It was really nice.
Sci-Fi for Me TV in the chat, Art, sent a message to you. It says Esquivel and Braganza are doing Alternate Empire. First artist Jocelyn Ojeda. So maybe it's Alternate Empire that is the quote unquote non-white.
Okay, Axel is doing something else
for non-white readers or whatever the tagline was. It was really cringy when I came across it.
Yeah, but you know what? It's so weird that in this current climate, it's like if you said this 10 years ago, everybody'd laugh at you. But now you actually have to take some of this shit seriously, and that's the scariest part about the world that we live in right now, where you could say that, Joe, and it doesn't sound like it would be phony. It sounds like it could be believable, and that's horrible. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, it was something. It was something about like what had Eric Esquivel been up to since all of the accusations against him, and he basically made a public confession that he was up to no good, and they were talking about how he and Eddie Berganza were forming a company together. And so it must have been Alternate Empire.
Well, I wonder what these whisper groups are going to do to Eddie. since he's got the balls to rear his ugly head up, again, and try to make up for himself. Oh, by the way, Eddie Berganza has 2 children and a family to provide for. So, yeah, they got him canceled.
Those 2 guys getting together to create a company. Oh, I don't know.
It's going to be doomed, but and I'm not totally sympathizing with Eddie Berganza, but I do think there was a bit of truth and a bit of a witch hunt going on there.
Well, Art, If you have to run, that's about all I've got. We covered the whole article, and I tried to give you just the highlights. But if anybody wants to go back and read it, I'll drop the link in the chat, and you can read the whole thing top to bottom if you like.
Yes, and thanks to our buddy over at Bleeding Fool, Chris Browley, for that. This stuff is important. I feel the need that we have to kind of defend ourselves, or at the very least give a different point of view, on this stuff. Because if there's no pushback, then, insanity. You just have one voice creating the narrative, and that's not good either. We need to have multiple points of view. So I think Todd wants to promote his Florida Man a little bit. Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, make sure you back Florida Man. This is another way that we give strength to the independent industry. You got tons of creators, Art, Graham Nolan, Ethan Van Sciver, Shane Davis, Kenneth Rocafort. You have plenty of veterans, and you have a lot of really good creators that are new, create a really amazing product. Eric Weathers, I love his work. Mike Murphy. So, you know what? Your voice is really your wallet. You really want to say something to the industry and the degeneracy of it. Back Florida Man, back Black and White, Second Chance, and Chrono Mechanics. And if you go back a few days, about I think it was yesterday, Art had a bunch of great news, but I'll let him take over and tell you all about it.
Yes, guys, go back, Florida Man. How many more days do you have? I can't see it on this.
We have 20. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me move it. 25 days.
Okay, 400 backers. Wow, that is crazy good, man. So go back, Florida Man. It's an amazing book, and it's written by Mike Barron, who's an industry. He is an industry legend. He has earned that title. Go back that, and I do have a little book that is live right now, and it is called Black and White. So we have Black and White, Second Chance, and it's doing really well. We have 10 days left, you guys. So we are starting to run out of time here. We have 24,511. We have 387 backers. We don't have 400 backers like Todd does. We need to get 400 backers. We need to heat this up, some competition here. So I want to thank everybody for backing this, everybody for shouting it out. Come by. The link to Florida Man and Black and White are in the description. Also, we had some activity on Chrono Mechanics the last couple of days. So thanks for backing that. And that is in demand right now. So please go check that out as well. The link is in the description. So we have Florida Man, we have Chrono Mechanics, and we have Black and White. Links.
And what's coming from you? You have something in the works.
I have some crazy stuff in the works. I am working. Hopefully, cancel culture doesn't decide to hurt me. But I have a deal to develop Black and White as an animated cartoon. So I got that going right now, and I am in talks, actually creative talks right now, to do a Black and White Green Hornet crossover. So it's not just going to be a cover anymore. It's going to be a complete story written by myself, and with variant covers by a lot of industry professionals, maybe even some Comicsgate heavy hitters. So I can't really say much more than that, but this is a great time. And I keep saying Black and White Volume 2 the end of the summer, but I'm going to have to start figuring out a real date. So it's probably going to be more in the fall. I just have so much on my plate right now. I got to figure out how to get everything done. So that's my big dilemma. So what's up, Todd?
You got to get yourself a whiteboard.
I got all these. I don't want to. If I hold it up, I'll out everybody. Actually, there's nothing here. But I got all kinds of like daily reminders. I have calendars all over the place. I have all kinds of.
He's got stone tablets and chisels for days, Todd. He knows what he's doing.
You guys can't see, but over in the corner are all my stone tablets. It takes a little while to put the notes down, but I do get it all done. So, yeah, you guys, very, very good. And let me see. go over to Drawing Spectacular with Dan Frega, Rob Willis, and myself. I'm going to come in and start hanging out with Replicator Rob. So Rob's got a book as well. So so very cool, you guys. So go check us out. We're going to do some drawing on that stream. Thanks for everybody's time here in the Pontificators room, and thanks to everybody for hanging out with us. And please still tweet this out. I think Todd, we got the exclusive here, brother. So thank you for pushing that and getting us out there on the airwaves.
No problem.
Yeah, and we may be following this up Friday night with Chris. So there may be some new additions to this story that might.
We have to follow this up.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, because now we're going to see sort of a domino kind of thing. But so we'll save it. Definitely join us on Friday. Everyone here now, and everyone that left, but anyone that comes, join us on Friday. We're gonna go into this a little deeper.
Yeah, and Chris is the one. You know, he's the guy that's in the fray here. So he knows way more than any of us do at this point. So I'm sure he's not going to spoil anything for us, but I'm sure that he'll have some insight that we weren't able to cover here. So thanks to everybody, and we'll see you Friday on Pontificators. Take care.